Welcome to Language. Students watching today as we begin language, we're starting a new journey. We're going to be visiting different zoos around the world. The first zoo that we're going to be stopping through today is the Wellington Zoo, and that is located in New Zealand. So several of the creatures that you'll be seeing around our chalkboard over the next few lessons have to do with visiting these different zoos. As we begin looking at our sentences today, we're going to think through a subject and a verb. Now, a verb will usually show action. So stand and let's do that together. Begin. A verb shows action. Again. A verb shows action. Be seated. We'll want to find that first in a sentence. Then, once we found the verb, we can say who or what is doing that action, or who or what is that sentence about. That will be our subject. We're going to take a look at some sentences here, and I have some helpers ready to help us find our subjects and verbs in these sentences. Follow along as I read the first sentence. After lunch, James wrote his spelling words. Find the verb. What is it, students watching? And Una?
Wrote.
Yes, Carson, come and underline wrote 2 times. That is our verb. Now, step to the side and pause for just a moment, Carson. Who or what wrote? Aiden?
James.
James is our subject. Carson, underline that 1 time. So wrote is our verb, James is our subject. Now, where would I divide between the subject and the predicate, Caden? Between what 2 words?
Between James and wrote?
Yes, so Carson, go ahead and do that. Well done. Thank you, Carson. You may hand that off to Arthur. Let's take a look at our next sentence. Grandma sent me a letter. Where is the verb? What is the action? Jacob?
Sent.
Yes, underline it twice, Arthur. Now let's find our subject. Who or what sent? Anna?
Grandma.
Yes, so Arthur, go ahead and underline grandma 1 time. Grandma is our subject, Josh. Now, where would I divide this sentence between the subject and the predicate, students watching? And Josh?
Between Sent and Grandma.
Yes, go ahead and do that for us, Arthur. And there we have found where to divide it. Thank you, Arthur. Hand it to Kathleen. Let's look at our next sentence. On Saturday, Dad fixed the car. Where is the verb? What is the action, Cadence?
Fix.
Underline it twice, Kathleen. Who or what fixed? Adriana.
Dad.
Good. Dad is the subject, so underline it once, Kathleen. Now, where would I divide between the subject and the verb? Madison?
Between Dad and Fix?
Good. Exactly correct. So that is dividing between the subject or the verb, or the subject part, thank you, Kathleen, you may set it down, and the predicate part of our sentence. Notice the subjects we found are the simple subjects. They're just 1 word. So we have subjects, James, Grandma, and Dad. Now for our verbs, those are located in the predicate part of our sentence. So we have the verb wrote, we have the verb sent, we have the verb fixed. Those are 1 word located in the predicate part of our sentence. Now we're going to take a look at a couple more sentences up above. Sometimes we can have a compound subject. That means there are going to be more than 1 word in the sentence that could be our subject. Let's take a look at these sentences together. The first one, we drive to church. Let's find the verb first of all. Where is the verb? What is the action? Caden?
Drive.
I'll underline it twice. Who or what drive? Emily? We. So we is our subject. Now, we were able to locate that as our subject. Now, as we find our subject and our verb, you'll also want to take note of something. When you have your subject and your verb, you want to make sure they agree, like we talked about in previous lessons, that we work together or that they work together. So if it's a singular subject, it needs a singular verb. If it's a plural subject, it needs a plural verb. So let's go ahead and double check that also. As we take a look at the word we, is that going to be singular or plural? Una?
Plural.
Plural. So this sentence, this subject is plural. We're going to write that plural above it. Let's check our verb. Our verb, is that singular or is that plural? Cadence?
Singular.
Think again.
Plural.
It is plural. Now remember, when we are going to take a verb and make it singular, what will usually be at the end of a singular verb? Students watching? Death.
S.
And S is correct. Because there is no S, we know it's plural. So they match. So for a singular verb will have an S at the end of it. So these two match. We have plural, subject and a plural verb, they match. They go together. Let's take a look at our next sentence. Anna and Sarah sing well together. What is the verb, Adriana?
Sing.
Good, so I'll underline it twice. Now, who or what sing? Josh?
Anna and Sarah.
Good, he found both of them. That's that compound subject we talked about. There are two subjects in the sentence. One of them is Anna, one of them is Sarah. So they go together. There are two of them. Notice I did not underline the word and. And is not part of that subject. So it is just Anna, it is just Sarah. But there are two of them. So because there are two people, is that going to be singular or is that going to be plural, Presley?
Plural.
Plural. So our subjects here are plural. Take a look at the verb sing. Is the verb sing singular or plural, Kathleen? Plural. Remember, singular verbs will have an S, but because this doesn't, we know it's plural. So plural subject and plural verb, they match. Let's take a look at our next sentence. Veronica sings well also. Find the verb. What is it, Jackson?
Sings.
Yes, so we'll underline it twice. And then who or what sings? Josh.
Veronica.
Good. Is Veronica as one name singular or plural? Arthur. It is singular. Now let's take a look at this verb here. Sings. Is that singular or plural? Notice something on the end of it, Presley.
Singular.
Yes. Now for the verb, that singular, the S at the end shows us that it's singular, so it matches. And they are good to go. Now let's take a look at a couple more verbs. We talked about if we have a verb and we need to make it singular, we can add that S. But there's something else that we can add to the end of some verbs when we need to make them plural, not just S. Now this is actually a plural rule we've already memorized. For CH, SH, S, X, or Z, we will add ES. So it should sound familiar. Let's stand and do that together. Ready? Begin. For CH, SH, S, X, or Z, add ES. Be seated. So it will sound familiar, but now you know it's a verb, and the reason we need to add the ES is to make it singular. So let's take a look at this word right here, this verb, wish. Because it ends in the SH, what do I need to add to the end of it to make it singular? Anna?
ES.
ES is correct. So she wishes, or Anna wishes. That would be singular, talking about one, not just adding the S, but in this verb, the ES. Let's take a look at crunch. What two letters do you see at the end, Asa? Yes, and because we have a CH, what do we need to add to the end of it, Caden?
ES.
ES to make it singular. So this verb now is singular, and we need the ES at the end. Let's take a look at our next verb, pass. What do you see at the end of it, Adriana?
S.
S, exactly correct. Because we have this double S or this S here on the end, what do we need to add to the end of it, Morgan?
ES.
ES, and we will do that when we are looking to make these verbs singular. So the ES there will change these verbs into singular verbs. We just need to remember that that ES will go at the end of that. So let's do our rule again. Stand starting for CH. Ready? Begin. For CH, SH, S, X, or Z, add ES. Well done. And that will make that verb singular. Open your books to page number 90, page 90. As you look at page 90, you see a creature that could be in a zoo. What do you see that could be in a zoo? Morgan.
Penguin.
Yes, there's a penguin. Raise your hand if you've ever seen a penguin in a zoo. Oh, lots of you have. Well done. Students watching, have you seen one? Well, I'm sure that was a very exciting experience. Well, let's take a look at our page with remember at the top. When the subject of this sentence is singular, write or add S or ES to the verb. I want you to underline that last part. Add S or ES to the verb. For the next part, when the subject of the sentence is plural, do not, circle the words, do not add S or ES to the verb. So let's look at our examples. Sarah wishes. Sarah is singular, so write an S above it. Wishes It has an ES, so it's singular. Write an S above, wishes her grandma could visit. Look at our next sentence. Sarah and Rachel wish their grandma could visit. Two people, it's plural. Write a P above Sarah and Rachel. Wish, no S or ES, so it's plural. Write a P above that verb. The children wish their grandma could visit. Children, think carefully. Is that singular or plural, Dev?
Plural.
Plural, put a P above it. And then wish, is that singular or plural, Josh?
Singular.
No.
Plural.
Plural. There's no S or ES, so it's plural, so put a P above it. Their grandma could visit. They match. You want them to match. Let's look at think A. Draw two lines under the correct verb in the predicate. You'll see that the subject has already been underlined, so you're thinking about matching them. When you look at that first subject, identify. Is it singular? Put an S above it if it is. If it's plural, put a P above it, and then look for the verb that would match. Go ahead and complete numbers 1 through 5. Well, lives is right. Number 3, blue-tongued skinks walk or walks with some park rangers around the zoo. Skink, singular or plural, Josh?
Singular.
Think about skinks. Is that going to talk about one or more than one? Plural, exactly. So which is the plural verb? Caden. Is it the one with the S or without?
Without.
Right, no S makes it plural, so then the verb should be walk. Number 4, the crane eat or eats fruit, plants, and small fish. Crane, singular or plural, students watching? Jacob?
Eat.
Crane, is that singular or plural? Singular is right. Now let's think about the verb that would match. Which verb is singular, eat or eats? Una.